Hello, welcome to the Science is Everywhere Festival. Together with my colleagues from RockEDU, NOGN, Miss Steph Science Class, Pueblo, and BioBus, we've put together an amazing experience for you. This is our fourth event in the series. If you missed any event in the series, you can go to biobus.org/sciencefestival to see them on YouTube. I'm Latasha Wright from BioBus, and I wanted to welcome you to From the Bench to the Streets. Here's what's going to happen today. We have scientists who will take you on field trips to a bodega, a bakery, a drugstore, and Riverdale Park. And we will explore together how neuroscience shapes the world around us. So the scientist is going to take you on this field trip. Then you're going to hear from a scientist who's working currently in the lab. And then you're going to hear a STEAM challenge. And then we have Q&A. So don't worry, there'll be Q&A all throughout the time. So, and then at the end, we're going to have a wonderful video for you to check out in the chat. So, Ms. Steph, take it away.
Thank you, Latasha. I'm so excited to be here today. Welcome, scientists. I'm Miss Steph, and we are going to go on an adventure to Rite Aid. Yes, you heard me correctly. We are going to Rite Aid. There's science at Rite Aid. So we have 2 missions today. As you can see, I've already started my mission. My first mission is to find materials to make a miniature volcano. Haha, such fun. My second mission is to make responsible decisions. So that's what we're going to do today. Who's excited about making responsible decisions? As you can see there, I am using my appropriate choices to find my first material, shaving cream. And as you can see, I'm checking my list on my phone to make sure that I'm only picking up the materials that I need. Let's watch as I continue to travel through Rite Aid, making appropriate decisions and using my frontal lobe to make decisions. I wonder what, I'm looking, I cannot find something. I'm looking for the baking soda. As we all know, baking soda is a major material, major ingredient when trying to make a volcano. But wait, there's no baking soda. Look, off I go to try to find an alternative material. I wonder what I'll find. Oh, I found something. It's even on sale. I found the Alka-Seltzer tablets. So scientists, as you can see, I had to make another decision, right? I had to make an alternative choice to what my original plan was. But I used my science knowledge, okay, and the knowledge of the store that I was in to make another decision and decide to get some Alka-Seltzer. Now off I go again. This is an adventure, right? As I travel, I just want to remind you that we're here, we're looking for science. We're looking for science everywhere. And right now you're watching me travel around Rite Aid to find the materials that are necessary for my miniature volcano. Remember to put your questions in the chat because there will be a chance for you to ask me questions and the rest of my colleagues' questions throughout this experience. So remember to put your questions in the chat. Once again, another decision, another problem. There's another material that I was looking for that's not there, but that's okay. You'll find out why later. As you can see, I'm here trying to figure out how I'm going to contain the chemicals for my volcano. I was trying to look for a cup, but I wanted a specific sized cup. Once again, I had a plan. I had my list already written out on my cell phone. Well, not written out, typed into my cell phone. And I didn't find the things that I needed. But that's okay. I had the core materials. I had some saving cream, vinegar, and the Alka-Seltzer tablets. So the other items, I'll figure it out later, as you'll see. Oh, but wait. I'm now getting distracted. Ooh, I'm distracted by the items that are on sale, the hair products. As you can tell, I like coiffing my hair. I like dealing with my hair, but those items there, remember, I'm supposed to be there to purchase specific things. I'm supposed to be using positive decision-making and self-control. Ask yourself, are the hair products on my list? Will that help me make my volcano? Even though they're on sale, do I need them? Will I get it? Let's see. You can tell I'm trying to make my decision. Oh, look, that's one of my favorite products. But do I need it? Is it on my list? Is it part of this particular science project? Alas, I make the right decision and I keep going. Up to the register. Once again, another reminder, we're here on an adventure. We're looking for science in the Rite Aid. Did you know that there was science in Rite Aid? Remember to put in the chat your questions about this adventure. Yet another thing that may or may not be on my list. Those are some of my favorite candies. Once again, what decision will I make? Waiting at the register, making appropriate decisions, and look at all of the candy. Can anyone put in the chat why they think the candy is in such colorful packages and at that specific height? Any ideas? Well, out of the store I go. Now I have to figure out which direction to go in. Again, more decision making. Well, as I walk off, I want to remind you to put your questions in the chat. And remember that we have several scientists joining us today. Now you're going to hear from Dr. Bo Shin very shortly after we watch me make my volcano. Remember, I said that there were some materials that I did not find at the store, but I realized that I had some of those materials already at home in my home laboratory. As you can see, I'm putting the Play-Doh on the cup. I had the right size cup at home. And as you can see, the vinegar that I purchased is right there. More decision making. How much of each material should I put inside of my volcano? When should I put each item there? What will be the best choice, okay, to create my volcano? Of course, my alternative. Remember, I wanted baking soda, but I was in the Rite Aid and I made choices based on the items that were there. So I decided to get the Alka-Seltzer tablet. Ooh, and it worked. Remember, we're going to have Dr. Bo Shin tell us more about decision making, right?
Hello, my name is Boshan. I'm come from NYU's Grossman School of Medicine. We study human and animals' decision-making behavior. So from a few centuries ago, economists start to study humans' preference. And nowadays, as developing of neuroscience and psychology, three regions of scientists come together to investigate how we humans make decisions. Scientists use a big brain scanner to detect the signal in your brain when the subject lying down in the big machine and do the decision just like making choice between apple and orange. And they found one brain region is robustly coding such kind of signal called subject value, which indicating how much you like this object. And that region called orbital front cortex, magically scientists use such kind of big machine, detect the signal in OFC, can be used to predict your behavior even before you tell it out. That's real mind reading technique. So use that kind of big machine, scientists also detect other brain regions function in decision making, such as dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is usually involved in when you make decision and need some self-control. For example, if you ask, would you prefer a Haagen-Dazs ice cream or a Trader Joe's yogurt, which is plain and no fat? Which you prefer? Scientists find that your DLPFC will start to activate and talk to your OFC, and they find when their subject successfully reject the ice cream, they found the signal in OFC will be modulated by DLPFC, and the DLPFC and OFC start to talk to each other. Now you know how amazing your brain is at making decisions.
Hi, I'm Lee. I'm a scientist at BioBus. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a device that will run experiments on bugs that we can find inside or outside of our home. So, first step, let's find a bug. You need a spoon or something to touch the bugs with, and a container, something to put the bugs into. You need to find an area with some sort of debris. That's scary. Kind of cute. Okay, second step, build your experimental device. I looked in my recycling bin for potential materials. Also in my Tupperware drawer. I know many of you are currently stuck at home like me. You can also find bugs in your home. I used to be able to be in the subway, in my school, in the library, at a concert, movie theaters. Now, my choices are limited to my bed, the couch, the kitchen, the bathroom, the hallway. Even so, I'm still making choices to be in different places depending on what I want at the moment. A bug's choices usually involve being under a log, in the grass, on a tree, inside a flower. I want to simplify the bug's choices and build an experimental device that scientists call a choice chamber. I want to give my bug only 2 environments to choose from so I can test if it likes this or that. Then I will remove it and do it over and over and over again and mark its choices every time. That way I can generate data, and that I can share in the links below. So we made 3 different versions of the choice chamber. Version 1 with some cardboard and tape. You need scissors for this one. This one with some additional cardboard and tape. Also need scissors for this one. And also just cardboard, which you don't need scissors for and can use your hands to rip. For any of your choice chambers, you can put pretty much anything in either of those chambers. Now that you have the basic inspiration for the kinds of materials you'll need and the kinds of bugs you could find, try it yourself at home and post photos or videos or even your data in the survey in the link below, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much to Dr. Boshin and Lee for their great the great explanation of decision making, as well as that wonderful STEAM challenge. So now, as I promised, it's time to answer your questions. We had some awesome questions in the chat, and so I will cover those now. Once again, we're here for the Science is Everywhere Festival, and your questions are really important. So I have a question from Crystal IP. How about what will it work for the experiment if I was trying to do? Is it affordable? Is it safe? So safety is always one of my #1 concerns because of working with awesome scientists like yourselves to make sure I'm giving you safe ideas. The Alka-Seltzer, with the vinegar, you notice how I tried to make sure I didn't have it close to my eyes, but otherwise it's very safe. It's not something that is dangerous for you to touch. You definitely want to wash your hands after you try it, and of course dispose of it, put it in the trash to make sure that it doesn't spill out anywhere else. And also, like, if you maybe have a younger sibling or friend around, you want to make sure that they don't put any of the materials in their mouth. And so that's how we stay safe while we're doing our science activities. And your affordability question is really important to me as well. Is it affordable? The Alka-Seltzer choice is a bit more expensive than the baking soda option, which is why I looked for baking soda first, but it was not available at the place that I was at, okay? It's available at other stores like a bodega or a grocery store. You would be able to get the baking soda at, okay? And then you would be able to have something much more affordable. And usually vinegar is pretty affordable as well. Great questions. Then I have Christine, who's asking me, can you find sciencey items in all aisles? Yes, remember, science is everywhere. All of those aisles that we were traversing have something that would be able to be turned into a science activity. Great question you could make art projects out of it. You can try to see if things were biodegradable or not. You could see if they what mixes with other things. There are so many different sciencey items, as you're saying, in all of the aisles at Rite Aid and in other drugstores. Okay, so that's all the questions that we have for now. Remember that this is an ongoing event, okay? And I want to thank you for joining me on my adventure to Rite Aid, okay? If you enjoyed the experience, make sure you push the like and subscribe button. Tell us how you feel about science down in the chat. Give us an emotion about how you feel. We plan to continue this festival next year, so we want to hear from you what you would like to see. Please keep in touch with us at sciencefestival@biobus.org. But wait, remember, there's more. Now I'm passing things off to Ethan.
Well, hey everyone, and welcome to the Science is Everywhere Brain Awareness Week Festival. Thank you, Steph. Miss Steph had a wonderful event. I hope everyone's had a fun time, or as fun a time as I did, joining along for the journey. what we're going to be doing in this next segment is exploring the bodega, because what I love is food, and I want to show you a little bit about where science is everywhere in your local corner store. And in this case, we're going to get some sandwiches and learn about the science that's inside you through the magic of food. So right now in this video, it's around lunch, and we're popping by my favorite bodega to pick up some groceries and to see and learn about how to boost the good bacteria living inside you. So you can see there in that cold case that there are meats and cheeses, and believe it or not, there's actually millions of microbes throughout your gut that communicate with your brain and tell you what to eat and like what type of nutrients you need, and a well-rounded diet can help that. Now, I'm also looking for a little bit of a tasty diet, so I grab a bag of chips here just to, spice up the lunch a little bit. But after setting things back onto the shelves and not making a mess of things, we're swinging around the corner, and Dr. Latasha Wright, who has not seen, and I are picking up some beverages to chase down our tasty sandwiches. And we are going to have a delicious lunch that promotes the good bacteria in our gut. So we're walking back over to the deli case. Again, you can see those delicious cheeses and meats and all of those delicious, it looks like there's also some, yes, we have some options. We can get some beef or cheese and chicken empanadas as well. Too many good options. So what's happening behind the counter right now is they're using their science to control the types of bacteria that, for example, are going to enter our guts when we are consuming food. Because as I mentioned, there's all kinds of microorganisms in all of those meats and cheeses you're looking at. There's also good types of microorganisms that grow, for example, in this jar of pickles. Now, pickles are fermented, and what that means is that the microorganisms that are there are able to chew up types of food and promote good bacteria in certain strains that are good for your gut. So I got this sandwich, and I'm hoping maybe I can get some pickles. Maybe I can promote some of these good bacteria in my gut because they're what's this? Oh, they're not there. There's no pickles in the sandwich. It's a delicious sandwich, but I'm kind of interested in being able to make them. So here we go. I go home now, and I'm gonna show you how to make pickles through this recipe. So you're gonna take 3.5 cups of water, and start pouring those into a pot. This is going to be part of your brine. There is that is 3 tablespoons of salt. So take your 3 tablespoons of salt, throw it in your water, heat that up on a stove with parental supervision if you are a younger audience member. Cover that, and you're going to bring it to a boil. Now, that's very hot, and it's going to destroy your vegetables. So you're going to set that aside, and you're also going to put some vinegar in there. Vinegar just helps prevent the growth of any type of dangerous bacteria. This was not sponsored by Heinz, but it is a great option for buying affordable vinegar. So then you're going to take that brine, you're setting it aside, and now you're going to get your vegetables. Now, these are fresh vegetables, and so you're going to want to wash them off. A little water will do the trick. And you cut off the ends of the cucumbers because that removes a part of the vegetable that would actually release chemicals that make your pickles soft. And you don't want that. You want crisp and salty pickles. And you take some garlic, you get some dill in there for some flavor, and then you just layer it in a jar. You're putting your dill, your cucumbers, your garlic, all that stuff. You add a little bit of pickling spices, and then you take your brine and you fill it to the top. Now make sure that everything is below the brine so you promote anaerobic growth, and then you put it in your cabinet.
Hello.
Keep it out of sunlight.
My name is Daniel Mucida. I'm a professor of immunology at the Rockefeller University, and I'm also a scientist studying how the microbiome, the bacteria that you have in the intestine, influence the immune system in the intestine. Because part of the lab is studying how the immune system and the nervous system communicate to each other, we are also interested in how the gut communicates with the brain. Of course, many of you know the gut hosts as many neurons as you have in the spinal cord. So there's a lot of neurons that are located within the intestine. This is a site that people call sometimes as a second brain, given the number of neurons that is there. Then the intestine also has a large population of immune cells. So it's an interesting place to study the immune system and the nervous system communication. Another site that this can happen is, of course, the brain. I'm sure you are familiar with many studies that are indicating that the composition of the bacteria that you have in the intestine may in itself influence how different people are susceptible, for example, to depression or different disorders of the central nervous system, including neurodegenerative diseases. For example, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, including autism, autism spectrum disorders, are all seem to be influenced by the composition of the gut microbes. And one of the questions that I think people are trying to understand is how the gut, locating far away from the brain, can influence the brain. And this is actually part of the lab's interests. And I would say there are three main ways that the gut can communicate with the brain. One is that the bacteria present in the gut may secrete metabolites that can circulate in the body and cross the blood-brain barrier, and then influencing specific regions of the brain through which these metabolites can cross and perform its functions. Another way that the gut can communicate with the brain, it's by secretion of endogenous factors. For example, the bacteria may influence the immune system in the gut to secrete substances that the immune system normally secretes, like cytokines. And the cytokines can then, again, circulate and cross the blood-brain barrier, influencing specific neurons in the brain. The third topic that also is involved in the gut-brain communication is a topic that my lab has recently studied, which is via the neurons themselves. So the neurons are projecting processes, axons and dendrites, all the way to the gut mucosa. And these processes may sense perturbations, for example, the type of bacteria you have that may influence the activation of these neurons that are projecting to the gut. These neurons that are projecting to the gut communicate to different kinds of neurons that are located outside the gut. These are part of the sensory ganglia, for example. The sensory ganglia is located outside the intestine and project to and communicate with neurons located within the intestine. Sensory ganglia then may send information to specific areas of the brain. So this is a direct neuronal connection between the gut and the brain. All in all, this communication between gut and the brain may influence not only processes in the brain, but also processes in the gut itself. For example, the way that we digest food can be controlled by this communication gut-brain. In any case, there are many things to be discovered, and I think the recent interest in this communication may help scientists to uncover different mechanisms that this communication takes place.
Hi, I'm Marina. I'm a scientist at BioBus. Welcome to our weekly Explore at Home Science Challenge. Today, I am going to show you how you can grow plants from food scraps you can find at home. This is a cool experiment because it allows you to grow more food from scraps that usually end up in the garbage. If you don't want to eat the food you grow, you can also let these grow into beautiful plants that hang out around your house. Indoor plants can remove pollutants from the air by absorbing them through their leaves and roots, making the air you breathe in your home cleaner. First step, let's find some scraps. I'm going to be looking in my compost bin, but you can use veggie scraps left over from cooking meals in your home. Maybe this week, while someone in your house is cooking, you can sneak parts of the plant they are not using so we can do this experiment together. Step 2, preparing our scraps. When we are preparing our food scraps, we want to focus on finding stems. You should ask an adult for help here because you might need to use a knife when trimming your plant scraps. For veggies, like different kinds of lettuce, cabbage, and celery, we want to focus on the bottom of our plant, where all the leaves grow from. But carrot plants stem from the top, not from the bottom. Scallions are easy because usually parts of the roots remain. Once you trim your veggies so that you are left with stems, you have finished the hardest part. Step 3 is to find a container. You can use glass or plastic containers from your recycling bin or kitchen containers like Tupperware and jars. Once you have your container, you can place your plant in a little bit of water, stick them on a windowsill or somewhere with lots of sunlight, and wait. You can measure the growth after a few days. For bonus growth, you can even transfer them into containers with soil once the roots grow in so that they can absorb nutrients. You can try this with a variety of vegetable scraps like garlic, ginger, and herbs like basil. Throughout the next few days and weeks, record your plant growth and submit your data on our Explore at Home website. I'm excited to see your results.
I hope you all try out that activity. I have some green onions growing in my window right now, and they make me happy every time I see how much they grow after a few days. And like Dr. Musita was saying, we think of nutrition often as being something that's important for our body, that when we eat, it gives us energy and makes us feel good. But science has shown us in recent years that the type of bacteria that we have in our body and our gut work in dialogue with the brain and the rest of our bodies in more ways than we could have ever imagined. There's even recent research to show that the composition of the microbes in your gut can even influence how you age. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there. But for now, thank you for joining for the Science is Everywhere Festival. And I want to encourage you, if you enjoyed the experience, to go down and push the like and subscribe button. Tell us how you feel about science in the chat. We plan to continue this festival next year, and we want to hear from you about what you would like to see. So please keep in touch with us at sciencefestival@biobus.org. And check out our events throughout the year and contact information in the description below the video. So coming up next, you're going to join Dr. Latasha Wright on a gustatory adventure, and I hope you have a wonderful time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome on my journey for the senses, to explore your senses. Look at all of these culinary masterpieces. Look how beautiful they are. They have so many beautiful cakes. They even have a cake made up of my favorite thing. Okay, it's TikTok videos. All right, let's go in. I am immediately visually drawn to all of the wonderful cakes. So much decisions, so many cakes to decide from. I'm super excited here. Bakeries are great to engage all of your senses. You visually see all of these choices to make. Look at the cookies, Danishes, or bigger cookies, even more cake, and especially looking at the beautiful designs. But you know what I love mostly about bakeries? The smell. Ooh, I love the smell of bakeries. Now I got my cake. Take a bite. Delicious. Definitely love cake. Then we decided to go to the ice cream store because, you know, what's cake without ice cream? There's still so many decisions to make. There's so many things that are made out of milk. There we go, cookies and cream, my favorite. So I take a bite, take it. It's delicious, but you know what this ice cream needs? Whipped cream. So what does cake, ice cream, and whipped cream have in common? You guessed it, milk. There's so many types of milk. There's heavy cream, and then just look at all of the different types. There's milk made out of cows, there's soy milk, and there are all even some other maybe not great options, but I do love some chocolate milk. That's great, let's grab that. So, would you like to see these milks under the microscope? If you would, come with me. All right, now I'm gonna take all of these milk products on the BioBus. Come along. So on the BioBus, we have microscopes inside that we can actually see all of the particles that the milk products are made of. So here I am, just making my samples with the chocolate milk, the heavy cream, and the whole milk. And I'm gonna put a little bit on each of these thin microscope slides. And I'm using a pipette, putting in a drop of chocolate milk, and then topping it off with a cover slip. I'm gonna do the same with the whole milk and also with the whipped cream. And you can see how thick the whipped cream is compared to everything else. Really cool. So now I'm putting some whipped cream into my handy sample jar. And then I'm gonna shake it. Shaking, shake, shake, shake. That's not actual speed of my shaking, but you know, I can go a little bit more. Oh, look, it's getting thicker. And I will shake more until I don't hear anything. And then guess what I have? Whipped cream. Delicious. Delicious. All right, so now let's see what these look like under the microscope. So here's the whole milk. Looking at it under the compound microscope. And you can see these fat globules moving around. You can see they're so beautiful. Milk has fat in it. Now I'll show you a little bit of me talking about 2% milk with a class.
So when you say real milk, when you say real milk, that is the 2% milk.
Hey, I just see some little bubbles. And I
Yeah,
see
those are,
spots.
that's exactly, that's fat. And it's moving around. That is fat.
Black spots.
Yeah, exactly. You can see, are they moving around? Do you see the movement? Can we describe what that movement
The
looks like?
bubbles are just moving.
All right, now we're gonna say, what does the chocolate milk look like? Is it like the whole milk or is it more like the 2%? Ooh, looks like the whole milk to me. But you see those little brown specks? That's the chocolate in the chocolate milk. Now, I got a treat for you. Heavy cream. Let's make some hypotheses. What do you think it's gonna look like? Well, okay, this is the heavy cream. I'm gonna go through many magnifications. Okay, only 3, but this is at 10x. You can see those fat globules moving around. Then at 20, it looks more like a slow moving volcano. And even more, I'm about to go more, 40x. All right, put in the chat what you think it looks like. It's very beautiful to me. I love the way the fat is moving around. And so after we do that, I'm gonna check to see what whipped cream looks like. Can I see those fat globules? I can, but they're not moving around. So thanks for coming on this journey to explore your senses with me. And now we have Barbara.
If I ask you to close your eyes and think of your favorite food, what comes to your mind? When I think about my favorite food, I can immediately recall how it tastes, but also how it smells. Smell can indeed bring back very powerful memories. But for most animals, it is also essential for survival. They use their sense of smell to find food, mates, avoid dangerous substances, and even predators. But let me introduce myself. My name is Barbara Noro, and I'm an immigrant from Italy, and also a neuroscientist at Columbia University, who is interested in understanding how we smell. It is in our noses that the detection of volatile molecules is transformed into electrical signals by neurons. Neurons are just cells, the building blocks of our brains. But it is their activity that allows us as humans to marvel at the fragrance of a rose or other flowers, or reek at the pungent smell of garbage in the street. 30 years ago, Linda Bach and Richard Axel, 2 scientists at Columbia, discovered the receptors that allow our noses to detect thousands, if not millions, of odorants. But how does our brain interpret what the nose is smelling? That is the question I set forth to answer. The human brain, however, is far too complicated. So I've turned to the fruit fly, Drosophila melanogaster, as a model system. It may sound surprising, but the tiny brain of a fruit fly works very similarly to ours. And as you can imagine, they love the smell of their favorite food, but they also avoid odorants that predict danger. One of the benefits of working with fruit flies is that they have a small brain. They have about 100,000 neurons, which may sound like a lot, but it is just a tiny fraction of 100 billion neurons in your brain. Another benefit is that we have honed genetic techniques that allow us to manipulate each one of these neurons independently. I can literally watch under the microscope which neurons are activated when a fly smells something, and identify the neural circuits that allow these tiny animals to recognize and discriminate between different odorants. We can even test whether these neurons affect the behavior of the animal by turning them on and off at will. Ultimately, my goal is to identify the mechanisms by which the activity of neurons in the nose are transformed into a meaningful percept of an odor in our minds. By studying and revealing the secrets of smell, we even have the opportunity to open a window into the inner workings of our brain and understand how external stimuli, in this case smell, can affect our behavior, our mood, and even bring back powerful memories and personal experiences. These are the type of questions we can begin to address by studying the sense of smell.
Hi, my name is Rosemary, and I'm a scientist with BioBus. When you smell something, special cells in your nose recognize that scent and send signals to your brain. This helps you notice, identify, and understand what's in your environment. It's an especially important adaptation that animals have evolved to help us figure out what's happening around us. Different animals have evolved to be good at sensing certain smells that mean very specific things to them. The characteristics of different smells can influence our behavior. We use characteristics or features to define things, and we can use this today to help us explore some scents in our home environment. If something has a good smell to an animal, they might be attracted to it. Maybe it's a resource like food or safety. If something has a bad smell to an animal, they might avoid it. Maybe it's dangerous or could make them sick. For our neuroscience experiment challenge, let's find out how our brains react to different scents and smells in our environment. Let's do an experiment. Step 1. Do some sample collecting around your home. I like to gather a lot of samples. You can collect as many or as few as you'd like for each experiment. Step 2. Make a list of what you collected. Then add a place to note the characteristic of each scent. Step 3. Perform your test by smelling each sample and record your data for each item. Scientists use a special technique called wafting to investigate how substances smell. Sometimes it can be unhealthy to smell something too strongly, even when observing a scent. Did any of your samples trigger a memory or a feeling when you smelled them? Make a note or draw a picture about what comes to mind when you smell a particular sample. Neuroscientists are very curious about how an animal's sense of smell activates our memories and makes us feel certain ways. Were there any smells you really loved? Things you couldn't stand? Did any of the scents bring an unexpected memory? Submit your data using the form below. Have fun exploring your brain.
So thank you to Dr. Neuro and Rosemary from BioBus. All of those are wonderful STEAM challenges. I hope that you guys do it when you're at home. I have one question here. Why do we feel like we can almost taste something yummy, even though we're only watching all of this delicious food on the screen? That's a great question. It's because we're having a shared experience, and it's really stimulating something that you've already done before. Sometimes when I see beautiful food on screen, it's like I can almost smell it through the screen. It's because I remember what that smelled like. And that vision, that visualization of a beautiful thing makes me kind of remember that smell. And that's causing my brain to remember that, trigger that memory. So I love that question. And I hope that you guys are continuing to do experiments at home. And remember, if you really enjoyed this segment, then push the like and subscribe buttons and tell us how you're feeling in the chat. We want to hear from you. Definitely keep in touch with us. We are going to continue this festival next year, and we want to hear from you to see, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to go to the dance studio? Do you want us to go, swimming and diving? What do you want us to do? Send us on an adventure. Anyway, keep in touch with us at sciencefestival@biobus.org. But there's one more person to come. Jeannie, take it away.
Hey, everybody. I think we're going to start off with a little bit from
Hi,
our friend
everyone.
Amberly.
My name is Conway, and I was fortunate to work with the U.S. Forest Service for about 12 years. And during that time, I had the opportunity to find forest bathing, or forest therapy, some call it as well. And I was able to dive deep into the practice. I now serve as a certified forest therapy guide with the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy. There are about 2,000 guides around the world, probably about 600 here in the US alone. And I'm coming to you from beneath these trees. These are a few elm trees that are near my home, and I come and sit out here just about every single day and get my forest bathing in. So forest bathing was created essentially in Japan. It's called Shindin-yoku, which is translated to forest bathing, because as I sit under these trees, I'm being bathed in the atmosphere of the forest, or bathed in phytoncides, which are these small, tiny, volatile chemicals in the air that we can't see, but we're breathing them in. Phytoncides are actually the immune systems of trees and other plants that emit these, to protect themselves. But as we breathe them in, it also protects us. So these phytoncides help to reduce cortisol levels, which help to reduce stress. And stress is associated with a lot of different chronic diseases. And so these phytoncides also help to increase our natural killer cells, which actually fight off cancer and all the other autoimmune diseases. And so just sitting outside is tremendously beneficial for your mental, physical, emotional health. And as guides, we actually guide people into nature connection in a very sensory way. We slow them down, and you just start to notice the sense through your senses, the natural world around you. It also starts to open up other senses that we as humans have kind of lost over time or lost connection with. So this is a really amazing practice that anyone can do in terms of just getting outside and breathing in and sensing the world around us. But also, if you're guided into a forest bathing practice, it's really powerful to be guided into this nature connection. It's kind of a new practice in terms of a new career pathway potentially. And so I invite you to go to ANFT, or the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy. You can find a guide map there and see if there's a guide near you. If there's not, maybe you can become a guide too. So I invite you to enjoy some forest therapy today. I invite you to get out every day and get your dose of nature. Doctors are writing prescriptions for nature now. So go get your dose today, and may the forest be with you. Bye, everyone.
Hey, everybody. It's Jeannie Garbarino. I'm with RockEDU Science Outreach, and I am going to have the forest be with me today in our adventure in my neighborhood in the West Bronx, also formerly Lenape and Wappinger tribal lands. And we're going to take a walk in my favorite place, Riverdale Park. This is where I come and relax. And one of the awesome things I love about the forest is decomposition. We often think about forest as growth, but forest is also an amazing place to see the breakdown of things that had been alive but are no longer alive. And that breakdown is taking place by little things that are completely alive and are breaking down the big things like this fallen tree so that it can get nutrients and redistribute those nutrients back into the forest ecosystem. So an example of this fallen tree, this is probably many years old, is this amazing soil that's turning up after years and years of decomposition. I can pick up this beautiful fertile soil that I often want to go and bring back to my apartment for my spider plants. And this is just the incredible work of microbial life that lives underneath the forest floor and around sort of the atmosphere of the forest. And it's one of my favorite elements of being in Riverdale Park. I also like to come here to relax. My family will just love to take in the trees and be there. And we also get to see cool stuff. So it's really hard to see, but there's actually a bald eagle. So this forest ecosystem is supporting wildlife in the Bronx. And that's incredible, from bald eagles to cool vines and cool trees and all sorts of things. You can find all of it in Riverdale Park.
I love coming to this park. I love taking my dog Barkley out in the morning. I gather my thoughts, for the day. Just go over like what I need to do and just think about where, what's going on in my life, and really just bathe in the forest, like forest bathing, as you'd say. But yeah, I love it. I've always been into nature. I grew up in Riverdale in Van Cortlandt Park. I would walk there every chance I get, and just yeah, I love it.
How does the forest make you feel?
It makes me feel calm, at peace. Just I've always felt at home, where I can just relax.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love being in the forest too. It makes me feel relaxed, but I like to nerd out as well. And here, this is a tree that had fallen and the root system had come out. And you can see how it sort of reaches out. So imagine this is sort of like down, and that root system allows trees to get super tall. But the coolest thing, again, is the microbial life that lives in the soil. Without fungus, trees wouldn't be so tall, right, Latasha? So yeah, there's trains, there's families.
Oh no! Sam, why do you come to the woods?
Because trains.
You like trains?
Trains.
Oh, you like trains.
Place to come to see trains.
Nice.
I like the trees and the nature and the river.
I like looking for signs of spring.
Yeah, I like looking for signs of spring too. And you can do that in the forest. So here you'll see some crocuses. These are early forest floor flowers that come up when spring has sprung. You'll also see some really cool ground cover that's starting to sort of give life and rejuvenation to the soil that's being thawed out from a long winter. Here's some more cool crocuses. And in the forest in New York City, there's so much forest land. I mean, it's not so much, but there's enough forest land where you get to see little ecosystems like this wetlands ecosystem. Sometimes I see really cool birds there, like buffle ducks. I know that sounds kind of funny, but I love that word, buffle duck. I also see some mammalian aquatic animals like a muskrat. So all of this stuff is perfectly findable in New York City, right outside in our backyards. You can even find coyotes here. But another fun thing to do is look for decomposition. Again, this is my theme. I love it. Here I'm showing how a fallen tree is now supporting new life, microbial life that involves lichen and some mushrooms, and they're taking root in this tree to try to break it down, and mosses to give life back to the forest.
I love to come here because I get involved in my deep thoughts. I exercise regularly. I go home feeling more energized and mentally happier. I like listening to birds. I like listening to the sound of the wind between the trees and leaves. I feel like, you know, everyone should do this.
Yeah, everyone should do it. Go outside and hug a tree today. And also, you can go to the forest for your mental and physical health. I'm a frugal girl and I am not going to purchase CrossFit material. So I'm going to go to the woods and make my own CrossFit. And this is me exercising in the woods whenever I remember or make time or aren't feeling a little lazy. And so these are some of the moves that I might do just on my own, and you'll see onlookers walking by sort of being like, what is this person doing? But I'll go and find a tree stump and say, okay, I'm going to do some whatever this exercise is. I don't even know what it's called. All I know is it makes my butt super sore, and I think that's probably pretty good.
We're supposed to exercise to keep our bodies healthy. But did you know that exercise also benefits your brain? My name is Alyssa Pikini Schaefer, and I am a neuroscientist. Neuroscience is the study of the nervous system, including your brain, spinal cord, and the nerves throughout your body. My work focused on exercise and the brain in the laboratory of Renee Henn at Columbia University. So we know that people who move more score better on tests of memory and cognition. And cognition is the process of learning and understanding. People who are more physically active are less likely to have trouble with dementia as they get older. And we also know that people who exercise regularly have lower levels of stress and anxiety, they score better on assessments of mood, and they log more and better restorative sleep. But how does exercise do this? If you're moving your body, why does it help your brain? Part of the answer might be the ways that your body and brain interact. Exercise generally reduces inflammation in your body and blood. It lowers levels of stress hormones, and it improves oxygenation and blood flow, including directly to your brain. We also know, though, that exercise causes changes that directly promote neuroplasticity in the brain. So neuroplasticity refers to the ability of the brain to change by altering its structure, function, or connections. Exercise increases the production of molecules called growth factors. And what growth factors do is that they encourage the neurons already present in your brain to grow new connections. But that's not all that happens. Exercise actually causes new neurons to be born and connect with existing neurons in your brain. Scientists hypothesize that both these new neurons and the new connections of older neurons may play a role in the positive effects we see on mood and cognition after regular exercise. So we are still investigating how and why the brain benefits so much from physical exercise. But there is one thing we know for sure, and that is the positive effects of physical activity on both your brain and your body are very clear. One of my favorite ways to exercise is to go outside for a run. What's yours?
Well, as you saw, my favorite way to exercise is going outside and being in the forest. But there's a lot of benefit that you can get from being in the forest. You can observe signs, like I said, the microbial life that is existing everywhere, ecosystems, animals, plant systems. It's so, so cool. And there's so much beauty there too. And I want to share another take of what it means to be in the forest and what a forest can provide for someone from our friend Elena Rios, who is an ANFT certified nature and forest therapy guide in Ventura County, California. So we're talking not just New York forests now, we're going to the other side of the United States and getting some information from our friends in California and what the forest means to them. So our friend Devin is going to drop that into the link, and you'll be able to see this video. She created this video with Julio Alcala, a social media producer who focuses on Black and Indigenous people of color issues and nature conservation in an effort to assist others in building awareness for the importance of nature connection. Elena Rios made this video and gave it to us, and I highly recommend that you view it. It is beautiful, and you know, I really like what our friend Tamberly said. I think watch these videos, do your exercises, look for science around you, and may the forest be with you. So thank you so much for attending our Science is Everywhere Festival. And if you enjoyed this experience, you can push that like and subscribe button. Tell us how you feel about science in the chat. And we plan to continue this festival next year and want to hear from you. Where do you want to see us go? Where do you see science around you? And how can we test that and showcase it to everybody? So please keep in touch with us at sciencefestival@biobus.org. And definitely check out our events throughout the year. And you can find our contact info below. So thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited. Thank you to everybody who's participated. And I don't know, Latasha, what do you say?
I am saying that I think this was awesome. Thank you guys for coming. And I guess this was a wonderful collaboration between RockEDU, Noggin.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
And Noggin, can I hear something from Noggin?
Yes, woot woot from Noggin as well.
And Pueblo, can I hear something from you guys?
Arriba. Vamos.
And Miss Steph, which is she had to go and do some work with kids, but we definitely want to hear more from you. And we're so happy that you joined us. And we have a couple people we want to recognize. And I think we're going to play that at the end, and then that'll be the end.
Awesome. Thank you. It was so wonderful.
Thank you guys so much. So, yeah. All right. Thank you to Rebecca. She was also the video editor here, and Lee video edited all of this footage. So thank you guys again. Okay.